Independence Party leader and Fox News contributor Nigel Farage joins us this morning with more on Theresa May's speech and the unfolding terrorist attack there last night. Nigel, good to see you this morning. What did you think of the Prime Minister's speech?
Well, they were stronger words than we've heard before. Usually after one of these attacks we just get hand-wringing and talk of solidarity. She did say enough is enough, but I would argue very strongly we should have reached that conclusion many years ago. And let's not forget, she was the Home Secretary. She was the person in charge of our Homeland Security for 6 years, starting in 2010. And when she says we've made significant progress over the last few years, I think that's wrong. I think what we need to do today is to recognize we have not stopped radicalization taking place in our schools, our prisons and our mosques. And I don't think you can deal with the problem until first you come clean about what you've got wrong.
Sure. And Nigel, there were a lot of factors that led to the Brexit that happened last year, one of which, though, was this idea that London didn't have control of its own borders, didn't have an understanding of its refugee situation and of demographics. Tell us about how the sort of borderless world that London lived in for so long, led by globalists, contributes to the ability for our enemy to infiltrate us and then attack us.
Well, I mean, two ways, really. Firstly, anybody that came to Europe and got a passport in any of the other European countries was free to come to Britain. Secondly, I'm afraid that a lot of people have abused the word refugee when they've not been genuine refugees to get into parts of Europe, and I'm afraid have had bad intent. But thirdly, and we have to recognise this, the British government, you know, when they were pushed by people like me a couple of years ago, said they would use the power to stop people who had fought, for example, in Syria from coming back into our country. Over 400 known jihadi fighters from Syria have come back into Britain, and we've only stopped one. So yes, you're right, free movement contributes to this, but also the British government have been too weak. Frankly, we've been too politically correct. So I hope that Theresa May goes a lot further than she's gone this morning, recognises the mistakes of the past, and says that in future not one person who's fought in Syria will ever be let back into our country.
I mean, Nigel, you have the pulse of the people. You were behind the Brexit movement before anyone really knew that that was actually going to happen. We've got these big elections in the UK this week. What is the mood? What is the sense where you are of the people in the UK about this threat of terror? They feel like where they are, they have a handle on it.
We are, as a people, very slow to anger. We're remarkably tolerant of things. But I do think, I mean, you know, bear in mind, this is now the third terrorist incident that has happened in my country in the space of as many months. And the mood that I get now is we want some real action. We don't just want speeches given outside number 10 Downing Street. We want genuine action. And if there is not action, then the calls for internment will grow. We have over 3,000 people on a sort of known terrorist list, and we're watching and monitoring their activities, but a further 20,000 people you know, who are persons of interest, namely they're linked in some way to extremist organisations. And you know, unless we see the government getting tough, you will see public calls for those 3,000 to be arrested. And I'm not sure that is the right approach, because the big danger with that is we might alienate decent, fair-minded Muslims in Britain. But whatever happens, we do need action.
Would be strong.